Hey guys, when the difference between winning and losing comes down to quality, choose Addicted Marine Performance Parts. What do they do, Hayden?
You know what? They're your go-to source for high-quality billet aluminium parts. Originally engineered for the intensity of race boats, but now it's available to upgrade your ski boat.
Very nice.
You know, they also specialise in cab plate hardware, performance-driven steering components and internal fit-out accessories. And they also supply Argo V drives and all the accessories to go along with them.
That they do. If you demand the best in marine components, remember one name, Addicted Marine Performance Parts.
Everybody out there, I need to know who wants to go fast? Let's go one place.
Welcome back to another episode of the High Spare Garage. This is another guest episode. We've got a local Western Sydney guy here, Josh Anderson. He's got a bit of a unique way how he got into motorsport, not like most people. And he's raced a few series, so we'll get into it. And how you going, Josh?
Pretty good yourself?
Yeah, I'm really good. Hayden's probably going to ask you all the questions because he's got it all in front of him.
Throw a little bit around.
Yeah,
That's right.
me and Joel will sort of just bounce off your conversation and, let's have some fun.
So you've grown up in the Western Sydney area,
Yeah.
and obviously doing a bit of motor racing. But where did it all start? What was school life like?
So I went to school. I started at Emu Plains Public School, out just over the Nepean River.
Riverboy.
Yep, in Penrith. So I went there from when I was in primary school, and then I went to Penrith Anglican College in high school, and then Western Sydney University at uni.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Yeah, right. What'd you do at uni?
Engineering.
Yeah, cool.
Fucking engineers.
Yeah.
So is that like a motorsport sort of side or a building engineering?
It's funny because I always wanted to work in motorsport as an engineer. Like from when I was young, that's why I love Formula One and I love car racing of all forms. But I think as a driver, probably I kind of went away from that because my passion's driving, and I kind of didn't want to be. I wanted to keep that a passion,
Yeah.
rather than be working in the sport and kind of be a bit. What's the word? Like a bit.
You end up hating it, don't
End
you?
up hating it, and it's like, oh, I wanted to be a driver, and I couldn't make it as a driver. So I'm working. I just didn't want to do it, and I can make more money working elsewhere anyway.
Yeah, so you make your money so you can spend it all in motorsport.
Yeah, exactly.
So is that what you do for a job?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
right now I work in the building analytics industry. So I work for a company called Bueno. We do building analytics. So we plug into your BMS, building management system, and get all that, basically like Motec for a building.
Yeah, okay.
So if you imagine you got all your data points in your building, you got like your air handling unit that's got 60 sensors on it that tells you all your air temperatures, that kind of thing.
Yeah, righto.
And then we obviously we have rules based upon that help you use
Nice.
less energy. So it's a pretty cool field. It's a growing field.
And
that's
sounds like it would be.
Like it is funny as in university you do all the complex maths and that kind of thing, and now I just do Excel. But
Yeah.
Computer does it all for you, doesn't
You
it?
will never have a calculator wherever you go.
that's it. That's it.
That's what we got at school.
And lots of AI. But
You know, we never, like, what was it, 2 years ago, we didn't even really know about AI. Obviously, you probably did in uni, but like as normal people on the phone, we never had access to AI. And I reckon it was probably 18, 24 months ago when all of a sudden you can get Gemini or what's the other one, Claude?
Yeah,
stuff like that.
ChatGPT,
And all of a sudden you can ask it a question and it'll give you a full setup of data.
It just makes everyone lazy, hey?
Yeah, very.
You don't even Google shit no more. If you want to know something, you just ask one of the AIs.
Like for me, it's a bit of a multiplier, right? So like it's not perfect. It's like a magic box that's right 70% of the time. So like if you're using it to like to write code, which I've done a fair bit of. I used to obviously write code by hand when I was in university and earlier on in my career, but you sort of have to know what you're doing to spot when things are not right.
Yeah.
But like the little scripts you can come up with that save you time,
Yeah.
it is like I love it personally. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I know it's not perfect, and people say, "Oh, it uses a lot of energy and it uses a lot of water and all this stuff." Everyone's going to lose their job over it. My attitude is like, I've got to use it, I've got to be on the forefront of it. So that I'm not one of the people that lose their job.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tough, but it's transformative, right? So you've got to be using it.
I'd like to see it build infrastructure.
Yeah, well, that's like ideally, I'm not in a job where it's unfortunately, my career probably is quite prone to be replaced by AI.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be.
But if you are at the front of that, you'll be the last one to go,
Exactly
not
right.
the first one to go.
Yeah, I think that's where it's at. Like, my career is probably a risky career to be in with AI, but that's why I just make sure that I'm on the forefront of it.
On top of it. So getting into the motorsport part, I mentioned you had a bit of a unique way of getting there. Like most people do, like the go-kart thing.
Yeah.
You want to explain how you got into doing it?
Yeah, I always loved motorsport, and my earliest memory of racing is actually the '03 Bathurst 1000, but not Lap of the Gods. It was actually when Scaife's door came open in the race, and for some reason I remember that. Right near the end of the race, I was a massive Mark Scaife fan. I had Mark Scaife
You'd have to be
posters.
the only one in the room.
Yeah, I know. It's funny because
He said
He was all right when he was a driver.
well, actually, is kind of accurate, to be honest, because when I was 8, I met Mark Scaife at Oran Park, and he basically told me to piss off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
So that I never forgot that.
Yeah.
And I still, actually, to be honest, I still have a poster of his car on my wall next to my sim. I don't know why it's still there, but it is. But that did break my heart a bit when I was 8. But
He was a massive person in the sport, but yeah, his arrogance probably really let him down, didn't it?
I think like he probably, in terms of like, I remember even when I was a kid, he had Greg Murphy like cardboard cutouts at Kmart, like that kind of relevance of racing isn't probably there anymore. But yeah, back then like Scaife was, well, to me he was like God. So I was a huge Mark Scaife fan. I remember anytime there was a muffler day at school, I wore a Mark Scaife shirt. Like it was, I loved it. So
Yeah, so you were bleeding motorsport from as a kid.
from when I was so when I was really, really young. I used to like the 1/64 scale. Cars used to get at the Holden dealership.
Yeah.
I think I've got the entire 2005 season in a bucket box. I've got every car, like even like Paul Morris and Jason Richards and all those guys. I used to love it. Like line up with a mat on my floor at home and drive all the cars around and like try and be really serious and race with them. I loved it. So I was always watching the V8 supercars from when I was super young. And I guess that I always wanted to, I thought, how cool is this? This is the coolest thing ever. And with a fair bit of luck, I suppose, because my parents actually divorced when I was really young, which wasn't ideal, but my stepdad is a racer. So he raced go-karts back in the day. And then in 2007, he started racing Aussie cars. So he was able to be, I guess, in a good enough position financially to race Aussie cars. So he did that for a few years, and then I was always sort of seeing going to the track and cleaning wheels and being around the track, being around the car.
Yeah.
And then always wanted to do it, but like I sort of did a bit of go-karting, I think with the GFC, and then so my dad was racing Aussie cars, or Darren was racing Aussie cars. Probably weren't really able to do it at a particularly high level, but also I wasn't that interested, which is kind of ironic. When I did go-karting, I just had more fun playing soccer.
Yeah.
So I kind of played soccer for a few years when I was like 8, 9, 10, around there. Always still watching the V8s. Kind of fell out of the V8s a bit, to be honest. Like, I guess in the Wing Cup era, I just kind of stopped watching it to the same level as when I was a kid. But I loved F1. Like, I'm an F1 nerd. Like my party trick is I know every world champion off by heart.
We've heard this conversation a few times, actually.
I like, unfortunately, the girls aren't really that into that, but it's a party trick nonetheless.
They are now with the Drive to Survive.
Well, not the ones that I know, but it is what it is.
It's really cool. Our F1 correspondent on this show is Chelsea, and she's pumped about Formula One more than motorsport, and her dad was a boat racer.
Right.
And it's been really cool to see conversations with her. She's pumped about everything past-wise and current. So she wasn't from the, what do they call it, Drive to Survive crew.
Yeah.
So she's from the older. So I think she's obviously standing on her own a little bit there, but there is a couple of outlying girls, but it's fairly male dominated, isn't it?
Oh, the growth, I definitely like. So I've been a fan of F1 my whole life, right? From when I was 05, 06, I started watching F1. So a bit later than when I was watching supercars, but it kind of explained to the time zone and stuff. But like, I remember being in school and there was like one other kid that watched F1, and we talk about Mark Webber or Alonso or whoever, Vettel. Everyone hated Vettel back then. But then when DTS came out in 2018, obviously it went nuts. Like I have a Netflix, well, my parents have a Netflix account. We kind of watched it and was like, it was interesting behind the scenes look at F1. But I know the growth is huge. Like if you look at some of the figures of their broadcast, and then even like looking at photos of crowd like grandstands from like 2015, 2016, where they're like half empty.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember it was
wow.
dying.
like F1 was really struggling actually, and you kind of forget that. Like when 2015, when like Manor pulled out, Lotus collapsed. You know, there were teams like the grid was looking pretty shaky, to be honest. Merck were dominant, which are quite back there now, but that's another story. It was really shaky, and then Drive to Survive did, to be honest, like turn on its head.
Yeah, big time.
And I guess with COVID, but like everyone locked inside their houses for that first part of 2020 with DTS just coming out, I think that, it definitely made a big difference. Because like people that I know just in my life that are into F1 now, and it can get a little bit annoying because they have opinions that are a bit, maybe I'm just old and grouchy.
Just
but-
old school.
They're enjoying it from a new head. You're enjoying it from an old head.
Yeah,
That's what
definitely.
it is.
So, but I think it's good. Obviously, we all love racing, no matter what form. And I think anything that helps racing is good for the sport overall.
So you jumped in your stepdad's Aussie race car.
Yeah.
You had a couple of drives of that, but before that, you learnt, you built your own sim for racing at home. Is that right?
So I started. I started really playing driving games when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I remember I was on my mum's, just like back in the day, you had like all the, mum's office. I used to play the V8 Supercars 2 game. We had a little Logitech Driving Force GT, I think it was, or a Logitech Momo.
Yeah, well, I think most of us had that, yeah.
Yeah, so it would have been, and I remember I had that from when I was probably 4 or 5. So obviously you could beat Mark Scaife, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I remember sitting on Mum's chair with the pedals stacked on some books, so I could reach the pedals and driving around, and Mum could never get me off the computer. Like I remember going home from school and I'd sit there for hours and play it. And it was honestly, it's an addiction that never stopped.
It's an addiction you can fuel yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of having to find all the cash to go and do a physical car.
Yeah. So that from there, like I was on it so much when I was young, and I'd loved even like Mario Kart and that kind of thing. I just loved it. So then I started to, do as I got a bit older, and obviously with my stepdad's help, I certainly wasn't building my own sim at 9, but we had some old, like we had an old Aussie racing car seat, and we Dad got some tubes and some aluminium and some like wood for the horizontal part, and like built a bit of a Frankenstein sim for me. And then over the years, we gradually improved it and built it up.
Yeah.
Like it was all very much like homemade stuff. But my dad's pretty handy, so he knows what to do. I sort of just hand him tools, to be honest. But
Hold the torch.
yeah, that was
Get yelled at for holding it in the wrong spot.
yeah, and you still can't do that right. But so I started doing that, and then from when I was probably 14, I got into iRacing. So iRacing is like the place to be in simulation racing.
Oh, 100%. It's awesome.
It is expensive. So I remember as a kid, like I definitely hit the credit card a few times when I started to buy tracks.
Yeah.
It's funny now because I've kind of owned all the content and I've owned it all for years. Like it doesn't cost, you buy the subscription every 2 years and then you just move on with it. But you forget when you're buying all the content to go racing, it actually costs like at $15 a track.
But that's American.
Yeah. So I remember I had some few difficult conversations about my iRacing usage. And I realized I had to get a job pretty quickly, which I had at the fruit shop. But, I started doing that, and then you're obviously racing MX-5s, and then you build up gradually and start racing a lot. Like I'd come home from school pretty much and race from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock and have dinner. Like that was pretty much in 2015, 2016. That was all I did. I think I did like 1,000 races in 1 year.
Wow.
Which is like 3 races a day. Like it was a proper addiction. I loved it.
Yeah, that's commitment.
And like I was an idiot really. Like when I look at like how I used to be reasonably quick for my age at that time. But I made so many mistakes. I used to get in crashes. I used to be a bit vocal on the in-game chat, and Scott McLaughlin once sent me a PM that was about, I don't know, 3 paragraphs long about how much of an idiot I was. Which I didn't save it, and I wish I did. I wish I screenshotted that one, but he was right. I was a moron. But I definitely, like when you're 15 years old, you get a bit a bit like that. But
That is a bit of a blessing and a curse in the sim racing world, though. Like, you've got your supercar and your F1 drivers, and then they can be in that same race with a 12-year-old on an expensive setup.
But you're also racing for points too. It's not just a fun thing. So
It's serious.
you can lose credibility throughout, and you can't get into that race, and you can't do this, and you can't do
with
that.
R rating. So, and I used to I guess I'm a very, very competitive person. I always have been. I used to hate when the R rating would go down after. Like if I lost R rating in a race, I'd be pissed. Like I'd be probably pissed. So I remember that's where, like, if I got binned in a race, I'd get real mad. And I still do even now, to be honest, but not as much because I've got other things to worry about. But so you do take it very seriously. It's something that I've never really changed that much, but I definitely race a lot less now than what I used to.
Yeah.
But I do agree, like the access to real life, like you can't go like I like watching the footy. It's very rare that I can go and find Nathan Cleary kicking a footy around and go play with him. But in racing, you can often do a race and you find, Scott McLaughlin or Brock Feeney or
It
whoever.
used to happen heaps.
Yeah.
Because I've got the Sims there. Well, I haven't done it for a couple of years probably now, but I think I got into that in about 2018.
Yep.
And they used to be on all the time.
Yep.
Constantly.
Yeah, I've had and even, you're in Discords and you're in, I've had, and you could probably argue beef with a fair few of those guys with on-track incidents, and then that could escalate into post-race, discussions.
Heated conversations.
Which is good because, it's cool that the rivalries are coming from the sim. We're all racers.
But it frames you. Like, it gives you things to build on. Like, if you're just doing everything right, then you're actually not progressing.
Yeah. I've made so many mistakes. Like, I cringe at what I have done in the past, and I will continue to make mistakes, to be honest. And I've, as long as you try and learn from them, then that's all you can try and do. But I've done so much racing on the sim that I feel like, because I really haven't done that much racing in the real world, like realistically, I didn't really race go-karts. So a lot of the guys I raced against have been racing go-karts from when they were 7 or 6 every weekend. I didn't do that. I think the sim, obviously it's not real, but it's kind of cringe, but the racing is real. So the same mentality, like I don't think the cars feel the exact same as what the cars feel like in real life, but the mentality in your racing brain, it's the same.
Yeah.
So for me, it's really valuable. And I guess that's helped me a fair bit in my racing.
Yeah, righto.
So you've done a lot of racing, say, before 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
But then there was the explosion of iRacing, and everyone was sort of living at home, and the only thing they could do through the beer flu was to jump on the iRacing or to find something else to do. So that was pretty hectic going through that stage, was it?
Yeah, that was I was already pretty heavily involved in iRacing at that time. Like actually in 2020, I was probably at my peak in terms of the time I had to commit to it, and I guess potentially how good I was. Like I was in the Porsche Esports Super Cup, which is like the iRacing World Championship. So in 2020, I qualified into that, and that started right at the start of 2020. And it was actually kind of went under the radar a bit, but Max Verstappen qualified for that as well. Mm-hmm. So in that iRacing World Championship was Max Verstappen, which I think's pretty cool. Like you don't normally would expect an F1 driver to be doing that just because he can. And he's amazing at the sim. Like he's honestly one of the best guys on iRacing flat out there is, which is, to me, that's pretty cool that in a talent pool that's so much bigger than what real racing is, that Max is still right there with the very best. Obviously he's not working full time on a laptop, so he's got time he's just driving all the time, which that's another, there's always things you got to consider. But so that was where I was obviously heavily involved by that point already. I got already done some iRacing World Championship stuff, and then I got through the Supercars E Series as well around that time.
Oh yeah, nice.
So I was in the Supercars E Series for a couple of years, which is cool. Hopefully it comes back, but there's no word about that.
It's obviously nowhere near as big now as it was through the COVID period.
No, I do think I think sim racing is a good sport to be. A sport may be a bit of a thing, but
it's still pretty massive.
No, but for iRacing to be televised.
No. I kind of look at it as do you really want to watch people race pretend cars?
Yeah, it was nowhere near as enjoyable, but everyone was watching it because there was nothing else to do.
like people compare it to other esports, and not to start talking about esports because, but like other things like League of Legends or whatever, they get big money and people will come watch that and they get big audiences because it's like it's nothing like real life. But sim racing is just like a kind of a worse version of real life racing. Like, like why would you watch sim racing over real life racing? There's no reason to.
Yeah.
During COVID, it kind of made sense because there was no real life racing. So that's what people were watching instead. But once COVID finished or sort of ramped down, then it kind of like in some ways they probably didn't manage it the best in like the different series and that kind of thing. They probably didn't take advantage of that momentum.
No, they didn't. Definitely didn't.
But like I race for myself to be. Like I enjoy racing. Like, I don't care if there's 1,000 viewers or 1,000,000 viewers. I treat it or one viewer.
Yeah.
I treat the race the same. It's like if you race at a supercars event and there's a big crowd there.
Yeah.
Or you race at Wakefield Park and there's more bins of spectators.
Yeah.
For me, it's the same. I try and do the best I can. The amount of pressure I put on myself is the same. Like I don't care about that. I barely even watch the broadcast when I race. I don't care.
Yeah.
So like for me, it doesn't affect me one bit.
Yeah,
I race anyway because I like racing. But I definitely think that like it's died off a fair bit now. Like it's almost irrelevant again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably use irrelevant again.
But that it gave you that a lot of people that outage that motorsport would normally give you. You at least had something. But did you jump into a physical race car after COVID, or was that before?
No, it was before. So I was 17. So I'm born in 2000, so it makes it pretty easy to calculate my age. So I was sim racing still at a pretty decent level at that point. Like I was pretty decent on iRacing for my age. And my old man was going to sell the Aussie car, and I begged him for a go. And he said, "Oh, if you can go find me $1,000, that's what a test day costs." So obviously, I was working at a fruit shop at the time, and I think I was working at Coles. Like when you're that age, you sort of work at odd jobs and that kind of thing to fill the time on the weekends. So I got to do that, and I was, I think I remember him saying, if you do a 112, that's a good job. And I did a 108. So that was where you went, okay. Obviously, the sim racing kind of gives you a good understanding of how to fill the car, and your pace is it's better than what I thought it would be. So I was very lucky. He's like, I won't sell the car. Let's have another go, and let's work on. And then I got the opportunity to race at Townsville that year. And I got to race as well at Newcastle. And to be honest, like Aussie Racing Cars is not the most competitive series, but it's not uncompetitive. But I was in the top 10 in my first race. So that's where it was pretty cool to be, from really little to no experience, in the top 10.
Yeah.
Almost straight away.
You're able to step in and actually say, okay, well, we can do this.
Yeah, I think. And then it's, I think I raced in 2018 and 2019. It's hard because I look back on those years and I felt like we didn't quite have the engine that the other guys had to compete. And maybe if I had my time again, I would have probably raced 86s or something. If I had my time again, of course. But because I felt like I didn't really drive any better than in 2022 when I won the Aussie Car Championship. But I felt like in 1918 we just didn't really have good enough motor. And then obviously COVID we didn't race for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of
on the shelf.
Yeah, so that I definitely, obviously, it's a long road and you never know where you're going to end up. But I definitely have some regret about, what happened in that period, because I feel like I could have, if I probably went to race 86s at that time, maybe things would have turned out differently. But we had an Aussie car. Like I'm not going to sit here and complain about it. We had an Aussie car, and that's what we raced. But like I think 2018 I finished 5th, and 2019 I finished 3rd in Aussie cars. And then in 2020 I won the first round, and then COVID happened, and then I didn't race for 2 years.
Yeah.
So by that point, like my parents were very, there was no illusion to being, I obviously wanted to be a V8 supercar driver, as all fans of V8s, pretty much all fans want to be. But my parents are always very much, no, you got to go to university. This is not realistic. You need to go get a job. And so in reality, did it probably change much? I don't think so. But you always question it. You always think about, what if I did this, or what if I did that?
Yeah.
It's just natural.
Yeah.
Best thing about hindsight is you can actually tell you
Exactly
what
right.
you could have done.
Yeah.
But what you did is what you did. So the worst thing you can do is look back.
Yeah, exactly right.
But during the Aussie racing car period, you've said you've done Gold Coast. You also did Townsville. Is that right?
Yep.
You did the Newcastle track. But
I did.
I think the biggest one would have been the Bathurst run. Is that right?
Yeah, I love Bathurst was awesome. So I got to when I first raced at Bathurst in Aussie race car, I think I won my first race there or first round there. And I love Bathurst in the sim. I've been racing there from when I was 13, 14 in the sim. So to go there and race in Real World at the 12-hour and get the win was actually my first win as well. And it was I remember it well, like it was 6 years ago now, but it was like, it's kind of a bit cringe, but I felt like I was winning the Bathurst 1000 when I was winning Aussie car. Like it's an Aussie car race.
Yeah.
But it was such a, like as a young kid that probably never thought that I would realistically race around Bathurst, to go and do that and win a race at Bathurst. And I think Paul Morris was racing. So like he's obviously raced a fair bit of stuff.
Yeah.
There was a few other guys that were quick, and I had to you had to drive the car well to win that race. That was amazing feeling. Like when I went, shit, how lucky am I? Even if I'd never raced anything again, that I've won a race at Bathurst.
Yeah, not many people can claim that.
Yeah.
No, what category you're in. Yeah.
But the sim would have helped you to no end for that, because done that many laps around there, you just sort of know the track, know the corner.
Well, I might regret saying this because I'll probably race Bathurst in the future, but I'm not that scared of the place. Which obviously everyone says.
I get the impression that's probably a silly thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I shouldn't say that, especially not on a podcast, but I've said it now. But like everyone says Bathurst is real, and Bathurst is tricky, and there's no denying that. But it didn't really faze me that much when I went there, because I think I'd driven it on the sim so much that it felt like the sim. Obviously, the consequences if you make a mistake are high. And I do think racing Bathurst in an Aussie racing car that does 2-minute 35 is a lot different than doing a V8 supercar that does 2-minute 5.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot scarier than a V8 supercar.
There's a lot more faster once you start dropping down that hill. It's a bit different story going 200 instead of 100.
Yeah, well, to be fair, the Aussie cars are quick around the corners. They just slow down the straight.
Yeah, righto.
Like the corner speeds are pretty comparable, but I think like over the top and that kind of thing, it's definitely a lot. Like so you can't. But the sim definitely helped.
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
definitely.
A lot of the people you're probably racing against, they probably never raced at Bathurst before that.
Exactly.
They probably didn't. They probably don't even know much about the iRacing at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, it didn't, like the very first lap that I drove the car at Bathurst, I felt comfortable straight away, and I felt like I knew the track. I felt like it felt good.
Yeah.
So I think that all comes down to a sim background for sure.
Yeah.
On that first couple of laps, was that drop into Skyline, was that probably the hardest to get used to?
100%. Like that's always tricky. Like that obviously on the sim you go and do it and you try and be quick. You make a mistake,
That's whatever.
What do you do? I hit the wall.
Yeah, you hit the wall, you go back
and refresh.
Yeah, go back. Whereas obviously if your weekend can be done and you've just done $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of damage to the car you're driving.
Yeah.
Well, that's not money you got laying around like that. So obviously your level of building up to it has to be a lot. Like you start from a lower base and build up to it every lap. That's what's tricky as well in the sim racing world is you get a lot of laps. So you can go and practice for 100 laps before you go to it, like before the race starts.
Yeah.
Often, like say in that Aussie racing car round, I remember that because it was combined practice and quali. So like you literally went out and my first lap was in quali.
Yeah.
So you got to go figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, right.
That would have been daunting.
Wow.
Yeah, so you just got to go and try and push as hard as you can, and that's what you got to do. And that's where real racing is definitely trickier than sim racing because you got a lot less time to
prepare yourself.
Yeah, brake markers and all the other.
Yeah, well, there's a lot more time sitting around waiting for your race, which in itself is a bit tricky because there's a lot more time to think about. Like when you're driving, you're normally just driving, but when you're thinking about the race, you can.
You get in your head and
you can do that.
Yeah.
And it's something I've struggled with, to be honest, in the past. So that's tricky.
I say that to all the people I race against. I say the race doesn't start when the flag drops. The race starts in the pits.
Oh, 100%.
You talk to other people and you try and psych them out. And
and then you can
drive around on your slow laps and whatever else. You give someone the bird or something like that and just get them all angry. And
like I've been probably like an overthinker. Like I've gotten better at that over time, but it's easy to do. So you can psych yourself out.
Yeah.
So you got to try to something that like it's as much a mental sport as anything else. It's probably racing's more mental than anything else, really.
Yeah.
So it's but that's tricky about it, and that's definitely a big adjustment when you do sim racing. Like, and you got a lot less laps to prepare than what you do in the sim.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, right.
So then you did win a championship in the Aussie racing cars. What year was that?
2022. So that was the first full year back after COVID, which is, again, it was probably a bit of a, I think in both, because there was some rounds in 2021 and then there was a round in 2020. I felt like both years I probably should have won the championship in Aussie cars in that time. Like I was leading in 2021 and then it was cancelled, and then 2020 I won the first round and it was cancelled.
Yeah.
So that was like, it definitely didn't come at a great time for me because I felt like in 2 years I kind of learnt nothing. I kind of didn't get any better.
Your starting period was 2 big stumbles.
Yeah, exactly. So that wasn't really ideal. I think that like 19 to 21 period's pretty formative, and I didn't race much at all that time.
Yeah.
Not sitting here complaining, like it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was good to obviously win it in 2022. And I got to win a round of Bathurst there, which was really cool. Had some both races I won were like last lap battles for the lead, which was awesome. And really special memories that I'll remember forever, to be honest. And then, yeah, to win a national championship is a pretty cool feeling.
Was that your last year racing in the Aussie cars?
No, so I did do Aussie cars in 23. And we had I finished second, I think, in the championship to Joel Heinrich, but we didn't quite have their speed. So I remember I had 3 poles of 6, but I didn't win a race. And Joel just basically every time I was on track with Joel, he just beat me.
Yeah.
So I think he had more grunt than I did at that time. But the result's the result.
Yeah.
So ideally I would have tried to move up categories for 23, but I just couldn't get the budget to do so.
Yeah.
So and when you've got a race car in the shed, that's where you can race. You're not paying a lease on it.
Yeah,
you may as well race it.
Yeah,
so
it's there. It's a lot cheaper, isn't it?
yeah. So that's what I did in 23.
So then in 23 you did that, but you also raced the Toyota 86 in
Yes, 24.
22. It was 24, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what got you into the 86s? Obviously you knew that you wanted to jump in one, but how was the step up established?
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one because back in end of 23, an opportunity came around to do the 86 series with a different team to what I ended up doing. And it was quite a good deal. It was quite a good opportunity for me. And I thought it was, again, I probably wish I did 86s 5 years before that, before COVID.
Yeah.
But I didn't. But I definitely, it's a very competitive class. It's a different style of car. I think Aussie cars do have, if we've all seen, obviously, them on track. They're little buzz boxes. They're quite big tyres for their size of the car. They're they're definitely over-tired. They're probably over-braked as well. So they're good fun to drive. Do they really challenge you enough in a technique standpoint? Probably not, because you can kind of just get in and send it. And your technique's got to be good. You got to hit your racing lines and be on your
you got to know how to race.
You got to know how to drive.
Yeah.
But I think going to an 86, which is the car is definitely a lot more technically challenging to drive, I think. And especially because it has no power. So if you make a little mistake and you're a bit late to the power, you get murdered. So you can actually, I think it's easier to be 2 seconds off the pace in an 86 than what it is in an Aussie car, in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
So that opportunity opened up in 23. I thought, look, an Aussie car's already won the championship. There's not much else to do other than I'm not going to do it again. I love racing, but I think it's good to try and
Bit of a step
better as a
aside or
driver.
something, yeah.
Move up.
I did try to find the money to do Super 3 or that kind of thing, or Super 2, but that was well out of my budget range, so that wasn't going to happen.
Was TA2 a option?
Well, I'd actually got to drive a TA2 car. So the guys at TFH Fence Hire, who sponsored me in 23, they rang me up and said, come drive the TA2 car at SMP this weekend, the TA2 round.
You never say no to that.
No, it was. I remember being on the train on the way in from work. I was like, yep, I'll do that. Thank you. That was pretty cool. I finished 5th in that round, and that was quite a competitive field. A lot of good drivers there that round. I remember battling with Ben Grice, who's raced Trans Am at the front of the field for quite a number of years now. So that was cool to jump in that. And then I got to race at Bathurst as well with those guys. Amazing opportunity. I think I was in the top 10 on debut. I was actually running 4th at one point, but I got a puncture in the last race. So I had a good, I was probably not quite as fast as you, James Moffat's, all those guys who race the cars every week.
Yeah.
But I was decent top 10 speed. So I was happy with that. But unfortunately that was just a one and done opportunity, and that didn't come around again. But I would love to race that again. That was an awesome car to drive. I'm thinking again, going from say doing a 2-minute 32 at Bathurst in Aussie car to a 2-minute 12, Like,
Yeah, right.
That was
Big step, isn't it?
like the previous time I drove at Bathurst, my quickest time was a 2:32. So I'd driven nothing else faster than that, and then got in a Tier 2 car and qualified at a 2:12. So that was it was still like a second off the pace of what pole was.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It was fast for
But
what you're doing.
but I thought for my first go, like, wow, this is like driving on fast forward. Like this is fast.
This is why Bathurst is scary for everyone.
Exactly.
What were they like compared to like your Aussie car and your 86? Like, were they somewhere in the middle or?
Well, they're like, I actually really like it because I do a lot of V8 supercar racing on the sim. So I feel like my throttle control is quite good, and that like I focus a lot on that because the supercar and the sim's it's got a lot of power, and you need to have throttle control. So I felt in that side of things, I felt quite comfortable, and my tyre deg was really good, which was like that was definitely an area where I was strong when I drove those cars. Like I had really good tyre deg, because I guess I've got decent throttle control. They're very wide. So that was something that coming from an Aussie car, like it feels like I was driving a bus. They're so wide. And that definitely took some time to get used to. And that like they're so quick. Like I remember doing 283 down the straight and I was like, I'm freaking moving. And that was, like I said, I didn't even do a test day. So I basically just did 2 race meetings and that and then didn't drive it again. But that was like to jump in and get the chance to do that was really cool. I would love to do it again at some point, but
do you think they're a bit more technical than the Aussie car?
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, as much as the 86 or?
No, not necessarily, because the 86 is like a finesse car.
Yeah.
It's got no power. So if you're a little bit too hot into the corner or you're a little bit too late to the power and you don't quite get the trail braking right, you're not fast.
Yeah, your exit's slow and then everyone catches you up.
And I think 86 is because the cars are they're all supposed to be the same. But everyone does lots of testing. Like it's quite a high budget category. So quite a few of the drivers have a fair bit of coin, so they do a lot of testing.
Yeah.
So you've got to be on your game. Like you can't rock up and race in the 80s. Like it's pretty, there's less than a second between the top 30 cars and 86s. It's seriously competitive. Whereas say like, I remember that being a thing like in Aussie racing cars, I would go in qualifying and I would do a pretty bad lap. Like I could get away with doing a pretty bad lap, make a few mistakes and I'll still be fifth. So you go racing from fifth and you can still win the round because you can go, okay, I'll get to third in race one and then you're at the front and you go racing even if your race pace is good. If you do that in 86s, you're going to qualify 20th. Yeah. And you can't pass because the cars don't race well at all. That's why the racing's pretty boring really when you watch it. It's not the most exciting racing. So that's your weekend done. You may as well go home.
I sort of think with the 86s, because there is so many fresh drivers in the 86 series, they do struggle to get full racing laps.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty heavy with the safety car.
Yep.
What was that like dealing with that? Because the safety car restarts seem to be the place where you can get an overtake done because it's so bunched up. But then you've also got about 15-year-old behind you trying to overtake you into the corner and they sort of bundle it up before you get there.
Well, I remember very well at Sandown in 2024, I got crashed into under safety car. Which did about like $6 or $7 grand of damage, and I was really thinking, why the hell am I doing this?
Yeah,
like I was not impressed at all.
Yeah.
It's not like I didn't calculate the cost per lap because you don't want to calculate that.
That's an expensive number.
Yeah, like when you're driving do the race half under safety car. I don't regret doing it because I definitely learnt a lot racing those cars, and it made me a better driver. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of. Like, I try and pride myself on racing clean. I don't pay people out. I try and race fair. Like, you be aggressive and go, you race hard. But there was some pretty ordinary driving in that class, which I think, I think if you watch a race on TV and you see that, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. It's a bit weird saying that being in such a high-end or expensive way to race and they're doing a lot of test days. Like, there's a lot of crashes seems a bit odd.
I think some of the people that race in 86, they just don't care if they crash.
Yeah, right.
Like for them,
if they've got the money, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So like for me, when I raced it, I couldn't afford to crash.
Yeah.
So like and unfortunately I still did crash, which I guess we'll get to later, but I really couldn't afford to crash. So that always meant that I was being quite, like you can't be too cautious. And I learned that lesson a few times where I was too cautious and actually got crashed into as a result.
Yeah.
But I was always fairly, like I didn't go for the kamikaze sense because I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. There were definitely drivers that they didn't give a shit if they crashed or not. And and like, that's a nice position to be in where $100 grand car's like a toy. And they're like, it's mind blowing that there are people in that position, but they certainly are. But yeah, that was definitely a very different style of racing to Aussie cars, where like Aussie cars was aggressive and people would race hard, but there wasn't the disregard for their car that I think I saw in the 86 series.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I suppose everyone in the Aussie car level, they're probably all on a reasonably tight budget, I guess.
I think most of them are owner drivers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not, young kids and their families are paying teams to run their cars. It's mostly guys who've done pretty well for themselves and they go and have some fun and they own the car and they go race it.
Yeah, yeah.
So obviously...
Yeah, if you damage it or whatever, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll sit out the next couple while I'm repairing it or till I get the money to repair it or whatever.
And I do think one thing with Aussie cars as well, they're fiberglass. So like if on the off chance that I did have a crash in Aussie cars, which didn't happen too often, which is good, but you can fix it yourself.
Yeah.
Like a bit of bog. To be honest, I just handed Dad tools and stuff. Dad did all the work, but
Held the torch.
we'd fix it ourselves. We'd basically never had to spend any money on fixing the car. At least bodywork related. It wasn't a thing that ever happened really. 86 is obviously you're buying parts from Toyota.
Yeah.
You don't need to go, it's pretty logical.
Yeah.
Someone's making money out of it. And it was expensive.
Yeah.
Like a headlight's I think $3,000 for a headlight.
Ouch. Yeah.
So when you think about that,
But is that $3,000 for a headlight at the track? Because Toyota 86, like the series, actually has a parts
yeah, they do.
truck at the track. So is that an exorbitant rate at the track, and then you go buy the same part at just your local Toyota dealership? Because they're the same headlight, aren't they? Are they a lot cheaper, or are they still stinging you there?
I don't
too?
think so. I never won on the track, but I think they're $3,000 even from a dealer.
Okay, so they're not just making shitloads out of you because they're at the track.
I think they do that too. But I think it's just expensive to fix those cars.
I think Toyota's just expensive in general.
Yeah, so that's where even in that you go from racing in a fiberglass car with stickers as headlights, and it doesn't it's a different game where where you're racing, and like I said, I got hit up the arse on a safety car at Sandown in 24 by some young kid who I don't know what he was doing, and it was like $7,000 to fix.
Yeah, wow.
I was like, this is a joke.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd annoy you. You'd nearly go up and punch the
It annoyed the shit out of me, to be honest.
well.
That's
So
where
you mentioned
come
your
in your
crash.
pit.
You mentioned your crash in the 86. Where was that and how bad was it?
Yeah, so I definitely had a very rough 24 season. I think I got into it where I had, just for some context before I get into what happened, I had the whole deal that I had fell apart.
Yeah.
And then I signed a lease with another car, and I shouldn't have signed it. Like, it was a pretty expensive lease, but I signed it, so I take responsibility for that. And it meant that I didn't really afford to do any testing. I didn't really ever enjoy driving the car for one bit. Like, I pretty much didn't enjoy it at all, which is pretty wild to say that.
Yeah.
And my performance wasn't good as a result. Like, I didn't do any good that season at all. So I got like one top 10, and I kind of got better every round, but again, you're hard when you're testing at race tracks, race meetings, and you're not really getting it on top of the car.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot different than an Aussie car. I probably underestimated that. It's a lot different than an Aussie car. But then, went to Gold Coast, and I was actually reasonably quick in practice. Like, I was probably second, I think, in practice. So I was feeling like I was getting on top of the car, I was quick, but I remember feeling I felt like I was going to have a crash. Like, I remember on the Friday, I was like, I don't feel like I'm really this confident.
Is that because of the track or because you wasn't quite comfortable with the car?
A bit of both, a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Like, I think, not to rip on the series, but I think the idea of taking that series to that track was ludicrous. But
it's good for TV because it's crashes, and they use the crashes for advertisements.
And I think it's good for selling parts too.
Yeah.
Well,
that was my feeling on it. I really didn't like. And the car doesn't take the curbs very well.
yeah.
I just didn't like driving that car at that track. But that's on me. Anyway, so I was reasonably quick in practice, and then I went to quali and I just fucked up. Nothing else to be said. I came into turn one, and I think I went like purple in the first sector on the lap before, so I was fastest in the first sector, and then I got a curb strike at the middle chicane, and then I was like, okay, it's like quali's, like I was like last because I didn't have a lap, and there was like 5 minutes to go. It's like, you got to get your lap in now, and I just pushed too hard in the first chicane, and I lost the rear on the way in, and again, the car has like an 86 is like driving on the sim with no force feedback. That's kind of the way
Yeah, right.
like you can't feel the wheel at all. And I think for me, I sort of, in my head, how I've, I guess, come to terms with it or how I accepted it, like my driving style was really built around feeling the car through the wheel because I do all the sim stuff. Right? So you use a force feedback and that's how you drive the car. So when you feel like you lose the 86, it doesn't really feel like you can get it back easily. It feels, I didn't feel confident for a long time. So I remember I came in too fast and then too fast to the left and then I sort of went back to the right to, the turn one at Gold Coast and it got over the curb and I sort of went like that and then my left rear just hit the tyre bundle, kind of spun me back that way and then I overcorrected and went bang in the wall on the right at 110 k's an hour. Like, and I moved the concrete wall like 4 meters or something.
Yeah.
Like, there's a video on YouTube.
I remember the stack. It was
terrible.
It was decent.
Yeah.
It was like the worst day of my life by the length of the straight.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was, and like totally my fault, right? There's no one I can blame. It was hard to take, that's for sure. But so that did a lot of damage to that car.
So that was in the leased car?
In the leased car.
Yeah.
So obviously with the leased car, you need to return it to the owner in its original condition.
Yep.
So it was not good. Like, and we were actually very fortunate. So the team that I leased the car from, Cedars Racing, they allowed us to fix the car ourselves. They could have easily said, no, we're going to fix it and we'll charge you 70 grand or whatever it is. Because obviously the labour, they charge you a fortune on that. They could have very easily done that and they didn't, which I appreciated. So, it's a common theme, but I handed Dad a lot of tools. He did most of the work. And like he worked his ass off. He really worked his ass off. Like I can't thank him enough. Because that was almost like triggering. Like taking that car in a shed for 3 months.
Yeah.
Was horrible. Like I hated looking at it.
100%.
Well, I was going to step on that. You said you raced for the Cedars team.
Yeah.
So they're a local Hawkesbury team.
Yeah.
So when you said that it was at your workshop at home,
Yeah.
you weren't able to use the Cedars team and repair it in their shop?
I don't think we really asked to use their workshop. Like we've got, because obviously my dad ran and we ran Aussie cars and we've got a shed at home.
Yeah.
With it. Like it's basically a shed with a hoist. It's nothing too fancy other than that. But yeah, like my dad.
There's enough stuff there to
we
do
got
the work.
And my dad's really hands on. Like he's a former mechanic.
Yeah.
So he's a mechanic turned computer programmer. So he's a smart guy, and he knows what he's doing when it comes to both. Like he's a guru, really. So I'm lucky to have him in my corner. But yeah, he was able to do most of the work himself. Like we had to buy another 86. So thinking about the cost of that.
Yeah.
We had to buy like a stat write-off car. So I remember I came from a work trip. I had to go obviously for like a work function. Came back, landed in Sydney like 3:00 in the Arvo on the Friday. Got in the car. Dad met me. I met Dad. He got in the car, drove to Gold Coast.
Shit.
Oh, bloody hell.
Got to Gold Coast at like 8 a.m. the next morning. So back to the scene of the crime, right?
I was just about to say.
Of all the places, I don't want to go to fucking Gold Coast. But anyway, that's where the car was. We found a stat write-off for like 15 grand. So yeah, that's what like, and it was damaged in the left rear, so the front was fine. So we basically drove there and back in a day.
Yeah.
So I picked up the car. Dad and I tag teamed the driving, and then so we had basically a written off 86 that we cut and shut. Like we didn't do that part of the work. We got a professional guy to do that because that's his specialty. We're not quite that good at what we do. But yeah, we basically got the front of that 86 and welded it onto the crash one and then binned all the other parts. So the car came back and the car looked really good when it was finished. Obviously it was not what we would have wanted to do.
Yeah.
But we part of the thing is you got to hand it back properly and we replace the gearbox and all that kind of stuff. So it did cost, like I think I said earlier, like it's like you make a mistake at work and you go, screw up there. Whoops.
Yeah.
Well, you do that on TV and it costs your family 50 grand.
Yeah.
Can't cover it up.
No, it was pretty horrible.
Yeah,
Like, it was-
100%.
I feel terrible about it now. It's horrible. It's hard though, because obviously you go racing, you can't dwell on it. Like you got to,
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
and that's why like I could have very easily given up at the end of 24 and I was like, I'm done. Like I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to focus on my job and focus on trying to buy a house and focus on, obviously we know how that expensive that is, and focus on all the other stuff. But I thought, look, I can't end on that note. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like if I quit there and then
that'll be your last thing.
my whole racing will be remembered for that crash.
Yeah.
Which I just went like, I don't really like. I didn't enjoy 86s to be honest. I didn't like the car. Didn't really like the series. Well, I definitely didn't like. I hated driving the car, to be
Yeah.
honest. It just felt horrible to drive. But I didn't want to end on that note. I thought I got to conquer this, and even if I don't win the championship, at least try and do myself proud in a way where I can be like,
Yeah.
I can walk out with my head held high and not walk off sheepishly, because I felt like if I quit there, that was it, and that was all I was going to remember myself for.
Yep.
I don't really care what other people think, but like from what I think,
Yeah.
I didn't want to end there. So obviously my sponsor group, we did it again in 25, and yeah, we had a much better year. A few little missteps, like I think we really nearly won the championship. If a few little things went differently, we could have won the championship. But to end up winning a race at the end of the season, my onboard from that video when I won the race, my scream in the car, it's like Mark Webber screaming
Yeah.
his first race in F1. Like it was that loud because that's what it meant.
Yeah.
Like even now, that meant so much. Like that trophy at my house means so much.
Yeah.
Of what I went through to get that.
Yeah.
So it's actually pretty cool. Like I've followed you for a couple of years now, where you actually had a meeting buying parts off
Yep.
Facebook Marketplace. But since I've obviously had a conversation with you and started to follow your racing career, I've noticed that like the commentators, like Chad Nolan's like a pretty big commentator in the 86s
Yeah.
up until this year, of course. But he speaks quite positively of you while he's commentating. Are you able to use that and chase up sponsorship due to that extra exposure?
I think so. Like it's really tricky, right? Because the exposure in racing, like it's got to be someone that's really passionate about racing. And I think a lot of, like we spoke about this before we started, but the sponsorship side of things is really hard.
They're realistically not getting nothing out of it apart from woohoo, that's sponsoring that car.
That's my business on that car. And it is really tough to try and provide value.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of it comes from people that you know, even if it's not from in that, like in your immediate circle of friends or whoever, but
Yeah, friend
a
of
friend
friend.
of a friend of a friend
Yeah.
of a friend. So yeah, it is like I do try, and obviously, I don't have a metric for how many times Chad Nailon
Yeah.
talks about me positively, but you do try to, if you're respected in the community, if you're a person worthy of respect, then things will come to
Yeah.
you in a positive
Yeah, 100%.
positive way. If you drive like an idiot and take people out, then obviously that's probably not going to come around the same way, or you act like an idiot off track or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try to always be, I guess, a fair and a good sportsman. Not always perfect. Don't get me wrong. I've made mistakes and I've done dumb things on the track and off track. But I try to be a sportsman, and I think it certainly hasn't hurt me.
So you're a local, as we've said before, and racing in the Western Sydney scene. What do you think of it? Like we've seen Jaden Ojada's just jumped into a main game seat this year, but we haven't really heard of many Western Sydney drivers in the main game, like making a big name through motorsport. What do you think's like? There's a lot of racetrack around here. What have we got? Pheasants Nest is another one. Is that where One Raceway is?
Well, there's Pheasants Wood down near Marulan. There's One Raceway, then there's obviously SMSP. Like it's funny because
There has to be a lot of money around here as well.
yeah, it's tricky. I guess it's never getting. It's not getting easier. It's racing's really tricky to get into. It costs an insane amount of money, to be honest. So that's the first thing, really. I remember when I was a kid, actually, my sister went to preschool with James Corney, his niece. So I remember thinking that was pretty cool that like James Corney was some like sort of
lived here.
Yeah, because I was a James Corney fan. Like he was
Yeah.
from Penrith, and back when he was racing in the Jim Beam era was around then. But like I was like, oh, that's James Corney's sister's kid. That's pretty cool.
So go.
Yeah, so like, and other than obviously, like, I don't really know Jaden Ojeda personally. I did actually race against him at QR last year in the 86, which is cool. But I think it doesn't seem to be too many drivers around from this part of the world. But I'm obviously proudly in Penrith my whole life, and always been going to Oran Park and going to Sydney Motorsport Park and always been around it. But it'd be cool to see more people from the West.
Yeah, I'd like to see some more, but obviously it's an expensive thing, and
I think this day and age is just
Well,
if you haven't got a big backing from, say, family with a big business, it's
Yeah.
just not going to happen because it's just way too expensive.
and that's the thing. It's like that's why there are a lot of drivers from Vaucluse or Toorak or
Yeah.
Gold Coast in supercars or wherever, because that's you got to have a lot of
the
you got to
money
have a
is,
lot of money. It doesn't matter how good you are. You got to have the money
Yeah.
to do it. So,
Yeah.
like I obviously prefer being from the West. I think people in the West are more real.
Yeah.
And I prefer, like, I would rather live in Penrith than live in Toorak or Vaucluse
Yeah,
or wherever.
yeah.
Like I like being from Penrith.
Yeah.
It's God's country.
I work in some of those places and I just think, fuck this. Who the fuck would live here?
Yeah, it's very fake. It is funny. Like at my work, people talk about Penrith like I'm in Dubbo. It's like quite far away. Yeah, but anyway, I get a good laugh out of that.
it's where everyone's starting to move.
Yeah, well, that's where you can afford.
Yeah.
So are you a Panthers supporter?
Oh, of course.
Fuck, I should tell you to get out.
Yeah. No, I've been all the way
stop.
back from, the Michael Gordon, Luke Lewis, Trent Waterhouse era. Remember seeing Petro at Maya when I was a kid. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, right.
Petro 70 cents a litre. So I've been a fan of Penrith my whole life. Obviously, the last 5 years have been unbelievable. Never would have thought in a million years we'd do what we've done there. But it's I think we made the finals once from when I was in kindergarten to year 9. So that's sort of summed it up. Where
It's been a big step up.
I can't even. As I get older, I'm kind of less interested in I've got other things to worry about. So I don't do footy tips anymore. I don't really watch. Like I watch the Panthers kind of in the background each week. Like I don't really. Like I follow it, but like when I was 15, I was like right into it. Right, as you get older, you sort of your priorities change. You got other shit on your mind.
Shit to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, being a race car driver, you are definitely going to be looking at supercars as that's the aim.
Of course.
Obviously, it's a very difficult class to get into, but you have actually had a drive of a supercar, or was that a supercar?
Well, it's a supercar. So, yeah, firstly, like, I'm realistic. Like, I'm old and I'm 26 now, and there's guys that are 18 racing supercars, and the main barrier is financial. I always wanted to race in the Bathurst 1000 when I was a kid. Maybe I'll make a shitload of money and buy a drive there.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'll do that. I'm trying to think of a business I can start that I can provide me that ability, but I feel like I've always wanted to. I should start selling fuel. So that's one of those things that I've always wanted. Like obviously, my dad lives in Bathurst, so my dad lives in Bathurst. So I've always gone there and watched the race, and always wanted to be in that race. So even though I'm realistic, like I'm not stupid, but you still want to think about
It's still a dream there.
It's still a dream, yeah. It's still like I'm still thinking, if I make this much money and I could just buy a drive and do it for once, and then I've just had a race at 1,000. It's something that I would love to do. Even if I'm 40, I'll just try and make enough money to buy a drive in the 1,000. But who knows what can happen? Like the amount of times that I thought I'm done with racing and I still end up doing it. You never know. You never know what can happen.
No, you only got to have the right person watch you.
Yeah, exactly.
Say in a good 1 year, you have a good crack and win some stuff. You go, have a crack at this and see what happens.
You never know. And
Or the right exposure from the right podcast.
Yeah, well, potentially.
Not this one.
Like it's hard because that is your dream, right? And like it is, you can get very fixated on like that's what you want to do. And I think like even when I race Aussie cars, I probably didn't enjoy it that much because I was always like, I've got to win more to try and get more sponsors to try and get a drive in, to get to supercars.
Yeah.
If I was realistic and went, it's not really going to happen anyway, just go and enjoy it and have some fun, probably would have had more fun. Yeah. Which is, it's tricky because I'm a very driven person. I'm quite like, you're very focused, I probably is the right word, but like, like I probably could have just had more fun and just gone with the flow a little bit more.
You probably find it works better that way if you're just out there having fun. Yeah. You probably do better because
anyway.
You don't overthink things. And,
well, that's where I've definitely struggled with that in the past, and I've tried to be a little bit careless about the result and just go and do it. And it is tricky. Like it's a tricky if you're deeply passionate about something and you love it and you want to do well, it's hard not to be really. I
know that feeling.
It's hard not to be too involved and then you put too much on it, and then you don't perform as well as you want under pressure and all that kind of stuff that comes into it. So it's hard to say what the future holds. I just like racing. Like if I can race at the Nürburgring or in Road America or at Indianapolis or like wherever, I'd race a lawnmower. I just
Yeah.
like from when I was 3 years old playing with the toys that I had, like the Hot Wheels cars and the Mark Scaife toys that I had. I just like racing.
Yeah.
And like I have the same enjoyment when I recently raced a Fiesta with one of my good mates at the Wakefield 300.
That'd be sick fun.
And I had a ball.
reckon it'd be-
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
like in the Fiesta, but it was like in the Renko endurance race, I had a ball. I just like racing. So obviously you want to, that dreams are dreams.
Yeah.
But wherever it takes me, whatever I can get my ass into, I'm always keen. I love racing. So
Yeah.
So what was the supercars car you actually had to drive
yes,
off?
I didn't actually answer that question.
That's all right.
I got to drive the Cool Drive car from 2023. So when I won the Aussie Car Championship, it was a bit kind of thing that came out of that because I was with Cool Drive at the time.
Yeah.
And I got to drive their Super 2 car at Winton at the end of 23, which is awesome. I definitely think like I was left foot brake in that car because and that's another thing where like the 86 makes you a better driver because in the 86 you got a right foot brake.
Yeah.
So I was reasonably quick in it. Like I felt like I got pretty decent times considering that like it was a super hot day and I was on old tires, all that kind of stuff. I felt reasonably confident with how I went. Obviously, doing that is different than going to Bathurst and then racing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's two different things. But it was awesome. Like it felt unreal. Like it was so cool to drive. I was like, I remember, funny the things you remember. It's like I'm on the in lap at the end of the day, and I'm like, I'm driving a V8 supercar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even if I don't do anything ever again, it's like wow, I actually got to drive. And it wasn't like drive it down the street. Like I got to drive a V8 supercar on the track.
As hard as you could.
Yeah.
And it was like even the feeling of the gear shifter and it was just really like I
No
remember
restrictions.
that.
Let's go.
I remember that like as a picture in my head of like that coming out of the last tit at Winton, as we call those corners, coming through the cleavage and then up the last tit, and you're like just looking around going, I'm in a V8 supercar. Like you kind of like
Yeah.
like you kind of take it for granted. You're like I'm actually driving a V8. Like this is a V8 supercar.
Yeah.
And like Mark Winterbottom drove that car. Like it wasn't. Don't think it was a championship winning car, but it was the car he ran number one in 2016. So like it was a car that
Yeah. Right.
it had won races and it had been a good like it was a
It's a good car.
well Winterbottom drove it. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty
Yeah.
prestigious car.
Did they give you any like times like you're comparable to anyone?
Yeah. So I was I think I was about a second off like a quick time.
Yeah. Right.
Which wasn't too
That's
bad.
that's
really.
pretty
Like,
good for
and
a first jump in.
Yeah.
Because they reckon they're a bit of a handful to drive.
They are. So I was, I think I did like a 1 minute 24.0 at Winton, which is, I think, like it was hot day, old tyres. So they said I was probably a second off where you want to be,
Yeah. Right.
which like
That's
for,
good, yeah.
for me, and I was probably, I was just trying to feel my way around it. So,
Yep.
I don't care. I had fun.
yeah. So like obviously you very quickly stop going, like I can tell you from when I was driving, I was like, okay, how can I get better?
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking about just going and driving around. You're like, okay, I got to get, drive this thing quick. So yeah, like that definitely, you're in race driver mode straight away.
Yeah.
But it was probably one of the coolest things I've done.
Yeah. Right. Was it just like a 10 lap or you get a whole day dicking around?
I actually
or?
we got a lot of laps. It was
Yep.
quite surprising. They put on because it's not cheap to run a supercar. for
No,
a day.
God, no.
So Cool Drive gave me and two other drivers, and they basically said the whole day. So I probably did 50 laps,
Yeah.
which
Right.
is pretty
Wow.
cool.
So if you'd done 50 laps, you wouldn't have gotten shitty tyres completely, would you?
No, like
Wouldn't
they
have
had like a
ones.
tyre bank. Like they weren't that bad. Yeah, they had like a tyre bank of their old stuff, and it was 38 degrees I think at Winton that day.
Yeah.
Bloody
Right.
hell.
And that's where I did like a stint of like 7 or 8 laps, like a pretty decent, and I was fucked.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, okay, these guys that race at the Adelaide 500 for 78 laps,
Yeah.
like I can do long races on the sim. Like I've done 4 hour stints on the sim.
Yeah. The fan blowing in your face.
aircon
And,
But mate, it's like it's hard work. Like to not you got to be properly race fit.
yeah.
So it's not easy. I can tell you that. And those guys are probably good.
Yeah.
Like probably good.
So when they're cooked, they're really cooked.
Oh yeah. Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, very cool experience. So hopefully one day I get a chance to drive it again.
Yeah.
Even if that means, as I said, I need to go make a shitload of money and buy a driving one, but I definitely want to drive one again.
Yeah.
So that steps us on to the next thing you're
Yes.
chasing at the moment. Or you haven't chased it, you've actually achieved it.
Yeah.
Which is, I reckon it's actually pretty exciting because it's a brand new series that's starting up in the country, actually supported by Ford North America. So what are you doing this year?
Yeah, the Mustang Cup. So that was a pretty cool opportunity. Honestly, I had nothing after last year. I went through when I won that race at Sandown. I was like, okay, that's probably me done. I've kind of ticked that box. I've had the crash and then come back, and I'm kind of I can walk away from it now. And it's been like last year was a big year. I bought a house in the middle of last year, so obviously there was dealing with that, having a big loan hanging over your head, and trying to pay the mortgage and race at the same time, and like that wasn't that easy. Doable, but it wasn't that easy. And then so I was kind of done with it really.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess kind of out of that race win, that changed things a bit, I guess. And yeah, one of my sponsors has done a lot for me, and yeah, has basically organised me at driving the Mustang Cup.
Yeah, right. Nice.
So who's that sponsor? You.
David Schramm from Schramm Group. So he is a legend.
So what's Schramm Group do?
Traffic control.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's big business at the moment.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
So he sponsored Aaron Cameron. So if you've seen in the Super 2 a few years ago when Aaron Cameron raced Super 2. So yeah, he's helped me out a lot. I sort of started working with him on the sim, just again, a friend of a friend.
Oh, yeah.
And just helping him out. And he's just given me some really cool opportunities. He's been able to do that, which like I can't thank him enough.
Yeah.
That's people like that. You go, wow, like I got to drive a GT4 car with him.
Yeah, right.
He's-
Wow.
So he's got a GT4 car that I got to drive back at the start of the year. And like, even that drive, I was like, I never would have thought that I would get to drive a GT4 car.
Yeah, no way. Yeah.
Like, this is a properly cool car, probably expensive too, might add. Don't bin it.
Yeah.
But like, I was like, I'm pretty lucky. Like, this is pretty damn cool to drive this. So yeah, so that's the kind of people that you meet through racing and that have done a lot for you. And you just have to be really grateful and obviously use that and go out and make sure you do a good job to.
Yeah. Those sort of people do look at you and go, oh, yeah, you've had some race wins, but it's how you hold yourself, like say through your crash and then coming back and go, oh, okay, it was just a mistake and you're actually decent at driving.
Oh, mate, that's tough. Like even that in yourself, like I'm thinking after my crash, I was like, I suck. Like I'm shit.
Yeah.
Like I should just quit. I'm no good.
Yeah.
That's really tough to come back from.
Yeah.
It's a brutal sport in so many ways. And like, that's why like when I won that last race, there was the best feeling of it's just an 96 race. It's not that like I didn't go win Bathurst or I didn't go win an F1 race, but to me it felt awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
you've achieved it. I can finish now.
yeah, like that challenge that I had and I didn't give up and I went and won. That meant so much. And it was a cool race too. I don't know if you guys saw that race, but it was like in the wet. I was on the outside at Sandown, 3 wide for the lead. Like it was and it was like I wasn't giving up. So when I had that opportunity to win, I was going for it.
Well, especially in the rain, like that's a real driver shit.
Yeah, thank you.
Trying to be in front in the rain, like that's not just
that
fast
race,
car.
That race is wild. Like that it started in typical Melbourne weather. It was overcast.
Blistering hot.
Well, it was kind of warm, and then it was like obviously blustery, and then overcast, and then we were on the grid. It started raining, and it was like a rain bomb. Like it literally went from we were driving around going, I think it's going to rain, and it was pissing down within about 30 seconds. So it's like the race is starting, and I remember going down the back straight. I was in I think I was 4th or 5th at that time. You couldn't see. Like you genuinely, I'm like going down the straight at like 160, 170 Ks, and like I can't see. And then on the front straight, it was raining even harder by that point in the next 30 seconds after that. And I actually get like loose, like my car's doing this down the straight. I'm like that at Sandown, and obviously it's just like ice in the wet because it's got a track service from 1960. It's not grippy at all in the rain. It's like ice, to be honest. So that was like, it was crazy. And then obviously it kind of stopped raining, but it was still wet. And to get the win in that fashion too meant so much. So I guess for that, that's was really cool, and that then reminds you that, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's I'm not.
But it also makes the sponsors go, oh yeah, okay.
Exactly right. Well, I definitely think that if that didn't happen, like that race win probably changed things for me.
Yeah.
So that kind of the things where, I mentioned earlier about, I wish I did this differently, or I wish I did that differently, or I wish I'd raced 86s earlier in my career or whatever. We can't change that, but like there are things in racing that happen that are a split second, or just one sliding door open, or one sliding door, and it changes everything for you. And that's something that you got to like you can't predict that kind of stuff. Like I didn't control the weather that day.
Yeah.
I finished 4th and 5th in the dry races. Like I was decent, but I probably wasn't going to win in the dry on that day.
Yeah.
But it rained, and I was able to get the win there. I didn't control the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stands
I
out.
opened some doors and well, yeah, same, no different. Like the Mustang Cup, it could
Well, that's exactly
open
right,
anything.
and that's a really cool opportunity. And I'm going to try and do the best I can in that series.
Yeah.
Which could open some doors. It could open, like, even if I could go and race, something with Ford in America, or who knows.
Yeah.
But it's on me to, if the opportunities open up for me, I've got to go there and make sure I do the best of it.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
So do you know much about the Mustang Cup at the moment? Like, we haven't really had much news come out, just the fact that they've got some cars that they want to try and set up a series. Are they just like an 86, sort of more a car out of the showroom with a roll cage, or?
They're a bit like, if you got like a V8 supercar on one end and an 86 on the other end, they're kind of in the middle. Like they're definitely more race car than an 86, but they're still a road car, like fundamentally a road car. But they're on a slick tire. They're on got a lot more grunt than 86, but they're a cool car to drive. So they're
Different to the Trans Am.
Well, I think the Trans Am's kind of tricky though, because they've got really like bias ply tires.
Yeah.
So they're really baggy tires, and they're like car moves around a lot, and like kind of like sliding faster in the Trans Am.
Yeah.
So you can kind of get away with more slide. Like obviously you don't drive the car like that, but it's kind of a bit of a weird style because of the way the tires are.
Yeah. Right.
Are they a bit more GT4 sort of thing? They're
They're kind of like GT4, but with a bit less grip. Mm-hmm. So like they're like GT4, but with a bit less aero and a bit less. Like they're probably not as stiff as GT4.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in that mold, GT4-ish
Yeah.
kind of car. So yeah, really cool opportunity. I said I haven't done, like, I'm going to the first round next week, and I haven't done any. I've done like 5 laps in the car.
Yeah.
So haven't done much prep, which is again another thing that's like, say in the sim, you go and buy the
Go
car
do
and
100
racing and go
laps,
do.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go
I'll
rock up and
definitely
race
come
next
through
week.
that.
Yeah.
So where's the first round?
Phillip Island.
Okay, so they're in. Is that Phillip Island? What's the round that you're racing against?
With the GT series. So the Speed series it's called.
It's the Speed Series. Okay.
So they're the GT3, GT4,
yeah.
a few other like Porsche Michelin Sprint Challenges there as well. So we're now on that show. So we're not racing with the supercars at all this year. We're on the Speed Series show, which is still it's like broadcast on Fox. It's the same kind of broadcast. I guess you get like same broadcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, not in the supercars events.
Yeah. Right.
So that's pretty exciting though, because like if Ford's behind it, they're going to try and push this harder than what Toyota's pushing the 86 series. That's what they're coming out here to do. They're trying to compete against that series.
They are, yeah, I'm
So
sure.
for you to be putting your ass in one of those seats from the get-go, if you can get a good name through that, there's some big names to be racing against, isn't there?
Yeah, mate, it's not going to hurt. So I'm just going to try and do the best job I can. I think it's definitely there's like I've already seen there's like a few supercars drivers racing in Mustang Cup.
That's awesome.
So to get a chance to race against guys that have
cool.
been there and done that in racing supercars, it's going to be a cool opportunity to race against those guys and sort of, I guess you can benchmark yourself against those guys and see where you're at. Like obviously I'm there to try to improve. I want to try and be the best driver I can. So yeah, for me that's a very cool opportunity. And if I can do well, it's certainly not going to close doors. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of big names too in the GD.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Series and that too. So
I'd love to get a chance to drive the GT4 car again.
Yeah.
Potentially there might be a chance to race it at some point in the future.
yeah.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, that thing was unreal. So like I'd love to. Like I like GT3 racing. Like I said, I like any kind of racing.
Yeah.
If I could do the Bathurst 12 hour, that'd be unreal one day. So even like the 6 hour, I want to do the Bathurst 6 hour. So
Yeah.
I think the 6 hour looks like it'll be a pretty fun weekend instead of
100%.
a super competitive. Well, it's still competitive.
it's bloody competitive. Yeah.
But it looks like it's a bit more of a family team can jump into a GT4 car and actually do the 6 hour.
Yeah,
It
I
sounds
think
a lot
so.
more expensive to run the 12.
I think it's probably, well, from what I've heard, it's probably anywhere between like 20 to 50 grand to do the 6 hour. I think that's like
That's a lot of money. Don't get
a lot
me
of money.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But it depending on what car you're in. But say to do the 12 hours, like, you need to probably per driver's several hundred grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So that's like, obviously some drivers don't have to pay, right?
yeah.
So that's not cheap. But it's be cool to do one day. Obviously, I've done the Bathurst 12 hour on the sim many times.
Yep.
So, you know, you can't control it. Like I love, if I get the opportunity to one day, that'd be awesome. If
Yeah,
not,
that's
then
right.
It's what it is.
You do your best, and something comes along, it comes along, and
Yeah, exactly right. So you can't, you know, you can't, you just got to be on the ball with it
Yeah.
and try to make sure that when opportunities open up,
Yeah, any opportunity you get, you try and do.
yeah, and you're
do
ready
the best you can and
take
see
advantage
what
of it.
happens.
Yeah, exactly right. Like you can't control a lot of the time. Well, you sort of can by the kind of person you are. Because if you're a dickhead, then no one's going to want to give you anything.
yeah.
But if you can, you know, can obviously get opportunities that arise, just make sure that you put your best foot forward and really attack them.
That's it.
Well, we hope to see you succeeding this year in the Mustang Cup, and hopefully we'll see you at the Bathurst next year.
Do you need
Bloody
to
oath.
plug any sponsors or anything else?
Well, firstly, I'd love to. My main sponsor, Clean Vibes, so they've supported me a lot in the last few years. But I've got a lot of other sponsors. I'll be here for a while if I plug them all. But people like Pro Speed Racing, Pro Cool Air Conditioning, obviously Tram Group, helped me out so much in my career.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely. Race Chill Innovations as well.
Yep.
Brendan is a great guy and he's been a bit of a mentor for me through the years. So massive shout out to him as well. Without those people, then I'm not going to be making it to the racetrack.
What about socials and stuff you do, Instagram and all that sort of stuff?
Yep.
Where,
So
where
I've
can
got
people find you and follow you? And
Yep. On Facebook, I am Josh Anderson Racing. And then on Instagram, I am Josh Anderson _36.
cool. Go and check out his stuff, like and share all his stuff, and follow him along. Or if you want to sponsor, you know.
Well, I wouldn't turn down that.
Yeah. All righty, we'll wrap it up. But before we do, as you all know, we've got guest questions that we ask everybody. Now, some of these are a little bit strange, but you'll be right. You're a big boy.
Yeah.
Which way do you mow your lawn?
So I obviously now have been living by myself in this little townhouse for a bit under a year. Doesn't have a lawn, which is a shame because I used to love mowing the lawn at home. So when I did it at home on the ride on, because we've got 5 acres at my parents' place, and I used to mow it like I would always start mowing around the outside. So like I was trying to separate because we've got like different
sections.
Different sections.
Yeah.
Dad never trusted me to do it around the house, so he'd always do it around the house himself. Apparently I did a shit job, but so
Turned it into a racing lawnmower.
Yeah. So because we had one of those Toro zero turns, I loved the thing. It was awesome.
Don't forget, the more you do a shit job, the less they ask you to do.
Well, that's exactly right. I was aware of that, so I didn't really mind too much. But so I would always start like around the outside and then come in and gradually like come in and in and in.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get to a point when there's you got to sort of change tack and go up and down because otherwise you're just doing like you just
Yeah.
little. It's like Martinsville, like you know.
little tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, you're just constantly on the wheel turning.
Yeah, so I'd start with a Talladega, and then when you get to like nearly Martinsville, you go, okay, now I'm going to go up and down. So I'd always do that, and then obviously do different paddocks and try to. I was always thinking about how I could do it faster. I was literally ahead in
Racing
night
brain.
time thinking, how can I do this better?
Yeah.
So that's where, but it wasn't good enough to do it around the house.
All right, question 2. What flavour milk is your favourite?
Mate, I love milk. I actually drink a shitload of milk. It's my favourite drink. I've always loved milk.
Like just plain milk? Is
I
what-
drink
yeah.
plain milk by the truckload.
You just go and get like the carton at the fridge and scull it?
Farmhouse Gold. I love that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Especially with the cream on top. I love it. So I've always been a big, like I would have like a milk with Milo when I was a kid and I've always loved milk. I guess chocolate milk's like the only thing for me. I don't really have anything else.
Yeah, pretty much everyone that comes on says chocolate.
Yeah, I don't really.
Which makes a lot of sense, does it? Like, who doesn't like chocolate?
Yeah, it's,
No. But like, honestly, I'd almost say plain milk. Like I probably drink more plain milk than chocolate milk.
Yeah, right.
So Yeah.
When I was a kid, I didn't mind milk. I used to love milk, but now
I don't
wouldn't say
like milk.
I don't like it, but I don't drink it all that often.
Oh man, I've actually tried to cutting it down because I've been trying to improve a few things about my health, and like I could easily drink 2 liters in 2 days,
Yeah, right.
but I don't because I know it's not.
Yeah.
I could easily do it.
Yeah,
I love it.
right.
All right, question 3. When you go to the toilet, where do you piss into the bowl? Do you try and be quiet, or do you just full stream into the water, make it as loud as you can, or...
Well, I don't know if I should admit this, but I try and be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Most people are.
Hayden likes being quiet.
I don't. Yeah, I'm definitely a quiet guy.
You asserts dominance.
Yeah.
Well, I do laps sometimes. Try not to hit the water. Like you gotta go around the whole thing without hitting the water. But when you go in the middle of the night, do you turn the light on or?
Not normally, no.
Yeah,
which can be a bit of a risk, but I'm pretty good.
You just listen for the sound and you just
Yeah.
adjust a little bit. Oh, yep.
But it's funny because even though like I live by myself, I still try and be quiet.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No, I'm like, why am I doing this, Josh?
The main question: have you ever sat down?
Unfortunately, I do look at my phone sometimes. I scroll through Instagram reels while I'm. So like,
Joel sits down as well. He sits down in the middle of the night. He can't be bothered going in there and
Don't want to wake up too
going
much.
home, so he just
it's actually not. Honestly, I've done that too. You just don't bring the phone with you because you'll be there for half an hour.
I've never ever, not once, sat down.
No, I can't quite say the same, unfortunately. I probably shouldn't admit that, but it is what it is.
You'd be surprised how many people that we've had on here say, "Oh yeah, sitting down. Yeah, I've done it a few times, or here or there, or
Yeah.
So it's obviously not that uncommon.
I've done it more than I should.
All right. When you have a drink, if you have a drink, do you drink beer, wine, cocktails, spirits? What's your go-to?
Mate, I don't normally drink. Like I'm pretty much, I would easily go months without drinking. I just find it expensive and I feel like shit when I drink, so I don't really drink that much.
More practice helps.
But when I do drink, I like CC and dry, so especially on tap.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I love that.
if I were
too.
to say like my favorite alcoholic drink is going to be CC and dry. So if like especially it's bloody expensive now.
Yeah.
I think when I went to the pub last, it was $15, which I thought was insane.
ridiculous.
But
Yeah.
like on tap, that stuff's like heaven.
Yeah,
Honestly, I
I'm not
love
a
it.
huge fan of CC in a can, but
Neither.
You give it to me in a schooner, and it's like, oh yeah.
Well, that's so funny actually. On tap, it's amazing. In the bottles, it's really good.
Yeah.
But the can's shit. Like
Yeah.
I don't like the cans at all.
I don't
It
really like
does-
much in a can.
It does
Anything
take a
in
lot to get
tastes
used
a
to
bit-
cans.
Yeah, it's even like I love Coke, the drink, just to clarify. I'm a big, and I've again tried to drink. Like I could drink liters of that a day, but I try not to. But that's the same. I don't like in a can. I always prefer it in a glass with some ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'll actively like take it out of the can and just I will never drink it out of a can unless I physically like unless I'm out.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to have it out of a can.
Yeah.
I always prefer to have it either a glass bottle or ice.
Put it into a
Yeah,
glass.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
To me, that's how you got to have it.
Yeah. All right, last one. When you're driving around the road, do you speed or do you do the speed limit, obey the road rules? Do you get any road rage?
Mate, I'm a grandma, to be honest. I'm a complete grandma. I drive like an old lady. I very rarely speed. I try to be pretty chill. Like I don't really get angry as a person. Like I'm pretty, well, occasionally I get angry when I'm racing and things aren't going well, but I try not to do that too often. But I don't really ever get mad on the road. Like I'm like, I might be like, oh, you're a dickhead or whatever, which happens a fair bit these days.
I get massively angry on the road. I don't really speed all that much.
Yeah, righto.
I set my cruise control like at the speed limit, maybe 1
Yeah.
or 2 Ks past, but that's it. And if someone in front of me is doing 5 Ks under the speed limit, I'll want a bull bar so I can ram them.
Yeah, that does give me the shit, especially if they're in the right lane. But what does annoy me is when you're driving like on the highway and there's someone in the left lane that then speeds up when you're trying to pass them.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that will set me off and that will really give me the shits. But I'm probably more grandma spec in my driving. Like I just try and be pretty chill. My grandfather's very much like he's even worse than that. Like he's like just sit in the left lane and it doesn't matter how long it takes. Like so that's kind of how I was. Like when my mum, like she's aggressive, like she's a speed demon.
Yeah, right.
So it's funny the difference. But like I just try to be like, look, just leave it a few minutes earlier, just chill. It's not worth stressing about. Like I have had a few speeding fine, or no, one speeding fine, which did give me the shits, to be honest. It was actually kind of ironic, that one, because it was during COVID and you're supposed to be not in your 5K radius.
Yeah.
So I got a speeding fine. I was out. Actually, I was Cameron Crick, the supercars. He's now. I was actually at his house.
Oh, yep.
Hung out with his sim, and I drove back home he's at Camden, I'm in Penrith. Drove back home, and I got booked for doing like 96 and 80 zone because it's where that new road is, and it's quite the shoulders are wide, and you kind of zone out. So that's my one and only speeding fine. But I was thinking, shit, I'm out of my radius here.
Yeah,
I'm up shit creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
And because I lived on the Northern Road, was also on the Northern Road.
Oh, yeah.
I think the cop might have known that, or he might not have, but
Just didn't pick up on it.
gave
yeah.
me clemency. So
Yeah.
And I was thinking, shit, this is like $1,000 fine.
Yeah.
Like I was I was shitting bricks.
I don't reckon too many people got told. Oh, got fined. They
Yeah,
got
I hope
told to
not.
just go home.
Yeah, I hope not. I don't want to get on that discussion, but I don't think that was right. That
I
was fine,
had the
but-
same thing, but I got done speeding just when they fixed up the F1
Yeah.
or the M1, sorry.
Yeah.
And there was barriers there, but there was no roadworks. It was all but ready to open. So I was just doing 110,
Yeah.
and it was an 80 zone.
Oh,
And an old mate's pulled me over. I was like, "What the fuck?" Oh, whatever. He goes, "So where are you going?" I was like, just got to drop some groceries to me, Nan." In Lake Macquarie.
I'll play it.
Because I had a bag of groceries because I was going to jump on my old man's boat.
Yeah.
And yeah, he goes, "Nah, mate, I think someone else can do that for you. You better go home." I was like, "Yeah, right, I know." I'll turn around.
I actually drove, one of my friends and I drove into Sydney a few times in COVID when we shouldn't have. And that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
I remember driving down Sydney. I think it was I think George Street was pedestrianified, whatever that word is. But like driving on Pitt Street,
Yeah,
there was no one there.
yeah,
And it was like, it felt like it was like a zombie movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be weird.
Like, it was cool. It was like, we were like, oh, we're kind of rebels and we're doing this, we're not supposed to leave Penrith and here we are in Sydney.
yeah,
It was cool.
We were pretty lucky being in the Hawkesbury LGA because it's massive.
Yeah.
So we just get on our dirt bikes every weekend, and there's so much bush and shit you can go riding through, and you're
Yeah.
still in your zone. It wasn't a problem.
I definitely don't miss that time. It was a bit of a, it's crazy. Like it's 6 years ago now. It's-
yeah.
Well, I
It's
guess,
6 years ago this week.
yeah.
It started.
Well, the F1 in 2020 was when it all kicked off.
Yeah.
That was what the first event that got cancelled.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it was.
But it is incredible to think of what the world actually changed with. Like I was driving a truck, and I was able to drive wherever I wanted in Sydney.
Yeah.
So there was an eighth of the cars
Yeah.
on the
How cool
road
was it?
that whole time. There was no traffic anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's hard to think you had that and then all of a sudden everyone come back to work and there was just traffic everywhere. It's a completely different situation that not many people are going to experience.
No, I can't quite remember it. Like I remember it, but not really. It's weird, and especially because I was at a young age.
Yeah.
And I could talk for hours about how that's affected my generation. It's not really been good, but like I didn't leave the house like 3 years because I was at uni, which was online,
Oh, yeah.
and then I guess I was working at the time as well, but I was actually working at Liquorland, which was not the ideal place to work at that era.
Perfect. I was there. a
Yeah,
lot.
If I heard the
shop that had no
funny
stock
because
left.
I don't drink as well. It's kind
Yeah.
of ironic that I work there, but the amount of times I heard the beer virus,
Yeah.
talking about Coronas, I was like, I've literally heard this joke every single customer for the last 3 weeks. Please stop. But yeah, that was like, and the fuel was so cheap, and then you were driving. I remember I drove from Penrith to Sydney in like 32 minutes.
It was so
Yeah.
It was like unreal.
Yeah.
But it was a weird time, but definitely, yeah, like, I guess to come back to that question, I like driving. I love driving, but I probably, like, I occasionally will go for a spirited drive. Like I've got a Hyundai i20N
Yep.
that I've got as my daily driver. So I'll go to one of my mates, he's in Canberra. He's got the same car. So we might go for a drive out to the Cotter Dam and around near, like those hills up,
Yeah,
up
right. Yep.
west of Canberra. And, we might do some light speeding. But it's more just having some fun and like trying to enjoy the car
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to go there and do 190 k's an hour down the road.
Yeah.
'cause I'm
Yeah,
just
see
not
what
gonna-
top speed you can get out
You're
of
not,
it.
Yeah, like
you're
I
not
don't-
going to tell anyone you do that anyway.
No, definitely not. I might have gone fast once on the M4. When I was like
to
young,
see.
I might have done that
It was
once.
an accident, wasn't it? Yeah.
I didn't know what speed I was going.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
speed
Throttle
up, stop
stuck on.
working.
I don't know. Maybe it might have started with a 2. But we'll see.
That's moving. That's good.
In a Mazda 3.
Would have been up it.
At like
Fucking
3 o'clock
doors rattle off it.
3 o'clock in the morning. I think that was during COVID, actually. That didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I'm probably more of a go with the flow kind of guy.
Yeah.
Chill.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for your time. Thanks for coming on, and
Yeah.
Happy
yeah,
days.
it's pretty good chat.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot for coming.
Coming.
Cheers.
See you later.